Fibaro button is a compact, battery-powered Z-Wave Plus device. It allows you to control devices through Z-Wave network or run various scenes in Z-Wave gateway. With its wireless communication, the Fibaro button can be conveniently mounted on any surface and in any position. Adding it to Vera control unit, different actions may be triggered by 1 to 5 clicks. In this video, I show you how you can add this device to Vera control unit and how to use it to trigger scenes. A simple example of using a Fibaro button is turning a light on and off. By tapping on the button, Lester turns on. Double pressing the button, Lester turns off. Except 5 different actions this device can have in Vera control unit. By pressing and holding Fibaro button, a panic alarm is sent and we can have a specific scene based on it. In our example, if I press and hold the Fibaro button, a siren goes off for 6 seconds, indicating panic. In order to add Fibaro button to Vera control unit, in Vera we go to devices, click on add device. From the list, generic Z-Wave device must be selected. Then click on next. In step 2, before clicking on next, the paper strip underneath the battery in Fibaro button must be removed. After removing it and close the casing of Fibaro button, next must be clicked. Vera goes to inclusion mode and it's ready to add Z-Wave devices. While Vera is in inclusion mode, by pressing Fibaro button at least 6 times, it is included to Vera. Vera recognizes the device, Fibaro button. At the bottom of the page, we can assign a room to it. By clicking on Finished, Vera starts configuring Fibaro button. Configuration may take up to 90 seconds. During this time, we mustn't do anything with Vera and the device, the Fibaro device. After adding Fibaro button to Vera is done and completed, by pressing on the arrow sign, in front of Fibaro button device in Vera, we go to the setting of the device. Select scenes for device buttons. Here we have 5 options: tap button, double tap button 3 times, 4 times, and 5 times. In front of each there is a list. Here we can select the scene we want to run. For example, if we want to have our Vera in away mode, by tapping on the button in front of the tap button, we select away from the list. Then assign scenes to buttons must be clicked. Now Vera is assigning scene to button. After it is done, in the setting of Fibaro button, we can see that scenes, tap button to activate house mode away. So by going to setting of Fibaro button, select scenes for device buttons. In front of each of these items, we can select the scene we want to be activated. Another way to use Fibaro button is within the scenes. In this way, in scenes section, we can select the Fibaro button as a trigger. As an example, I click on Add Scene because I want to create a new scene. Trigger is a device. Select a device. Fibaro button must be chosen. An action is performed. If it is selected, which action from the list must be selected? Tap button, double tap, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, click. Double tap button, for example. Validate. No any other trigger is needed. So next step, device action, select Lester, now if I double click on Fibaro button, Lester turns off. In scenes section, when Fibaro button is selected as trigger, here we have whenever Fibaro button sends a panic alarm. If the button is pressed and hold, then it is released, it sends a panic alarm. In this scene, when the button sends a panic alarm, I want siren goes off. As a result, in Vera unit, using Fibaro button, we can activate scenes, 5 different scenes based on 1 click, 2 click, 3 times, 4 times, or 5 times. And we can have a panic scene, and it runs when the button is pressed and hold, then it is released. Now if I click the button twice, Lester turns off. If I press the button and hold it, then release it, siren goes off. Tapping on the button, Vera goes to away mode. In settings of Fibaro button, in notifications section, we can receive notifications based on an action is performed, a battery level goes below whenever Fibaro button sends a panic alarm. Pressing 4 times Fibaro button, it is woken up. At the end, in order to exclude this device from Vera control unit, in setting of Fibaro button, at the bottom of the page, delete device is selected, then unpair must be clicked. Press the button 6 times, it is excluded from Vera control unit.